All right, so like I was saying, I've got all these bolts are out. Okay, now I've got to take these 4 out, and that's going to relieve pressure on the, this isn't going to work. It's going to start relieving pressure on the rocker itself, and eventually it will. I don't want to use that, I don't want to break it, it's a ratchet. You know, this camera, it's a terrible camera. I start recording and it shuts itself off after 15 minutes. I can't get a good recording out of it because it wants to shut itself off. It won't run for an hour, so I can do the job correctly. Okay, we got 2 of them loose on that side. We got 1/4 inch on the other side, Allen. So we want to use a 1/4 inch Allen on the other side. There we go. See how this one works. It's not loose, it's not hitting. Yeah, it's hitting. It's too long. Let's get a shorter one. I'm sure I have a shorter one in here. Just have to find it through my jambalaya. That one fits in there, but it will not fit the other one, so let's just grab 1/4 inch like this, and we'll do it like that. Alright, there. Boy, he had that tight. I mean, I know you gotta have them tight, but maybe it's just this wrench, you know, it's so small. Alright, that's good. I'll just use this on this one. I don't want to have to. Jesus Christ. Well, let's do this. Tighten this one back down, because that sometimes would that'll put a little extra stress on it if they're all loose. The last one is always tighter than the rest. And then we will see if that's going to work. Not really. But now try this. Breaker. Use a breaker on it. So we start lifting these slowly but surely together to get this thing to come up on kind of evenly. Right? I want these to come up kind of even. Got that thing set up correctly. You know. let's get the right tool for the right job. Nine 7/16 and no half inch. 7/6, you know, that's Murphy's Law for you, right? You're looking for a socket, and you want a half inch, and all you can find is 9/16. All you can find is 9/16 and 7/16, right? That's not going to come out like that. Yes, there it is right there, right? I'll put this over here and I'll show it to you in a minute. So now we've got, let me back you back up again here. I don't know which way is which on this thing. I think we're back to normalcy, right? Yeah, somewhat. Okay. So next comes out the push rods. So you take these out very simply, just like that. You always take the clips out first so you don't have an issue. And because I'm removing the head, I have to take out the tubes, push rod tube covers. Everything has to come out because I'm taking off the head. So one thing I wanted to show you is, if you notice, one of them is longer than the other, as you can see here. You know, I've got the two at the top, I've got them even, and one of them's just a little bit longer than the other, and that's the longer one. Let me see if I can get this right. The longer one always goes to the exhaust, and the shorter one goes to the intake, because if you look at the angle at which they go up, the exhaust has more room to has more of an angle, and I think this is the exhaust, and it has to travel further. It's further out from the point of contact at the top. It's further out than the rear one, and it's also angled just a little bit differently. So it because of that angle and all that, it has to be a little longer. So when it's adjusted, it should always just out a little bit longer. But if you take them out like this, I probably won't have to readjust them when I put them back in. So that's a good thing, right? All right, let's get this rocker box cover off. This is the bottom rocker box cover, by the way. Of course, you know that. Ouch. Ow, that hurt. Oops, I'm not supposed to cuss on YouTube. Ooh, I hope the moderators or the mediators don't come and get me for that. There we go. The moderators or the mediators, what are they? Big Brother? Yeah, that's what it is. Big Brother. Anyway, okay, so we've got that done. We've got that cover off. For you that's never seen one before, I know that this is pretty mundane, or it may be to some, but for you that haven't seen it before, I'll show you a little bit about this motor. Oops. So these are not beehive springs. These are flat springs, or standard looking type springs. Prior to the beehive springs, they used these kind of springs, and the reason why he's probably using these types of springs is because you can get higher pressures, and the more pressure you have, the higher the RPMs you can obtain without getting what they call valve float, where the valve is reverberating off of the seat so fast that it causes it to almost bounce twice, you know, and you don't want that when you're in a racing situation. So anyway, this is the top of the head, just in case you've never seen one before, probably have a million times. These are the two bolts that hold the head on. The other two are right here. These two right here. Okay, so I'm gonna get busy on those and get this head off, and we'll take a look and see what we find down in there, huh? Let's see if this thing is torn up as bad as I think it is. From what I saw anyway. When I looked in through it with a bore scope, I saw some pretty bad stuff going on in there. And I want to make sure you guys are getting a very good view of what's going on. So, alright. Look, guys, I posted a video the other day of me pulling, what was I doing? I was assembling a head on a stock motor or a motor. And man, it came out so bad. I was watching that thing, and I'm over across the room talking, and all you got is a shot of this, you know, the motor. And I said, oh, well, I can do it that way because I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to make it look really great. And man, I couldn't get that. I couldn't do anything with that video. Sorry. So I posted it anyway. So if you see it and you're going, oh man, this guy don't know what he's doing. Well, you're right. I'm still learning, man. Now I know about motorcycles and I know how to work on them to a degree. I'm not an expert. If you wanna see an expert at work, a true expert, look up Tatro Machine, T-A-T-R-O, Tatro Machine, and he works on all kinds of Harleys, and he's a real pro. This guy, he's really good. Props to him. Anyway. Let's get this head off so you can take a look at it. Alright, we're going to need a 1/2 inch, which I already have out. Alright. And we're going to need a short extension. Now this is short, but it's not as short as I'd like. And then, alright, here we go. You know, sometimes this guy always works on his own stuff, and I wonder, you know, well, I'm thinking out loud. It's pretty stupid the way I think, so sometimes it's pretty ridiculous, but sometimes I wonder if he didn't ask me to do it because he did something wrong last time he assembled it. Like, he's a backyard mechanic, you know, so he doesn't have all the tools and all the stuff that's required to work on, you know, specialty tools to disassemble a motor and reassemble it. But sometimes I wonder if maybe he did something wrong taking it apart and expects me to fall for the damages, you know, to believe that I did it when I'm taking it apart or putting it together, which I don't think he would do that, you know, to be honest with you, but shit, where my mind goes, no one wants to follow. Believe me. I'm a fucking idiot sometimes, but I try to be a nice person. I try to be fair, you know. So, what else can you do in this world, right? So, I'm still in the process of removing these bolts. It's pretty tedious. I'll probably just speed it up and, you know, to get the thing off, and then you can go from there. Ah, jeez. I don't really want to do that. dripping all over too. God damn it. Okay. So here's a picture of the cylinder. As you can see, that lip around there this is called a Hemi head, and it's supposed to have right in through here, there's supposed to be like a 1/4 inch area that's effectively is a squish band, and it turbulates the air when it comes up to the top dead center. And as you can see, it's got some damage, you know, from the valve. Look at that. I'm gonna have to oh yeah, this valve is bent. Look at, I don't know if I can show you here. Let me bring it over here. So that's a bent valve, my friends. You can see right here the big gap. Let me see if I can get something. Yeah, here. You can see right here this huge gap. I can put a wire tie in there. It's so it's so thick. So that's bent, and then it's pushed over on this side here. And I don't know what the seat is gonna look like inside. It's really hard to tell. Let me get a flashlight. See if we can look in there and see something. I know this light's kind of bright, and I've used it before with this camera, and it's kind of hard to see anything, but it looks like the valve guide, from this perspective anyway, it looks like it's okay. There could be damage on the backside, you know, as it's pushed over towards this way. So yeah, I don't think the guide is damaged. Lucky person right there, man, because usually the valve guide goes and that's the end of it, man. You got to rebuild the head. Well, the head's already going to have to be redone, but as far as how... Oh, let me show you before I put you back. Let's see if I can get a view in there. I don't know if you can see that, but right there where that valve pocket is, that fly cut for that valve pocket, right behind it, you can see where the piston is broken out. And it breaks right there all the time where that valve pocket meets the edge of the piston. And that it's broken it out twice so far. So I'm gonna get it off. And I'm going to pull this cylinder off right now, and we'll be able to take a lot better look at that, and we'll see if you can see me. I don't even know if you can see. I better take a look and see what you're looking at, huh? I don't even know.